Hey, welcome back. We have a topic today that almost nobody talks about, and that's exactly the problem.
Because the less we talk about something, the more power it has over us, and today's topic has a lot of power over a lot of people.
We're talking about money.
And specifically, how to talk about money in English without feeling uncomfortable, embarrassed, or like you're doing something wrong.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Anna. Welcome to Speak First English, where we speak first and think second.
Anna, quick question before we start. On a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you talking about money with other people? Honestly.
Honestly, maybe a 4 or 5. It depends a lot on who I'm with and what exactly we're talking about. With close friends, easier. With colleagues, much harder. With strangers, almost impossible.
And why is that? What makes it uncomfortable?
I think it's the fear of being judged, either for having too much, which feels like showing off, or for not having enough, which feels like admitting failure.
So both too much and too little feel wrong to talk about?
Exactly, which means talking about money at all feels like walking through a minefield. Every step could be wrong.
And in English, in a second language, that minefield gets even more complicated because you don't just navigate the cultural discomfort, you navigate it in a language that might not give you the exact words you need.
Until today.
Today's topic, how to talk about money without feeling awkward.
And we want to say right from the start, this is not a finance class. We're not going to teach you how to invest or how to save. We're going to teach you how to talk, how to have real, honest, natural conversations about money in English.
Because money conversations happen everywhere. At work, negotiating salary, discussing budgets, asking for a raise. With friends, splitting bills, talking about prices, discussing financial goals.
With strangers, making small talk that accidentally touches money. With yourself, understanding your own relationship with financial decisions.
And in all of these situations, most English learners feel lost, not because they don't have opinions about money, but because they don't have the language to express those opinions naturally.
Today, we give you that language and the confidence to use it.
If this episode helps you today, please share it. Send it to a friend who has ever felt awkward when money came up in a conversation in English. This is exactly what they need.
Let's get into it.
Jake, let's start with something important. Why is money such an uncomfortable topic, not just in English, but in almost every culture?
Because money is never just money. Money is connected to almost everything that matters deeply to people. Security, worth, status, success, failure, family, power.
So when you talk about money, you're not really talking about numbers. You're talking about all of those things underneath.
And that's why it feels so personal, so exposing, so risky.
Think of money like an iceberg. On the surface, numbers, transactions, prices. But underneath, identity, fear, values, and stories we've told ourselves since childhood about what money means.
Rich people are greedy. Talking about money is vulgar. You should never ask how much something costs. It's rude to discuss salary. These are the underwater parts of the iceberg.
And different cultures have completely different things underwater. In some cultures, money is openly discussed, shared, even celebrated. In others, it's deeply private, almost taboo.
And for English learners, you're often navigating the English culture's iceberg without knowing exactly what's under the surface.
So today we also give you the cultural map, not just the words, the understanding of when, how, and with whom money conversations work in English-speaking contexts.
Because knowing the words is half the job. Knowing when to use them is the other half.
Can I share something that happened to me early in my career? Something that taught me the most important lesson about talking about money in English?
Please, these are always the stories that stick with people.
So I was new to an international team. First few months, English was the working language, and someone, a colleague I was becoming friendly with, casually asked me over lunch, "So what are you on?"
What are you on?
Meaning, what is your salary? What do you earn? And I had no idea this question was coming. I had no vocabulary for the situation. I didn't know if this was normal or rude or somewhere in between. I didn't know what the acceptable answer was.
So what did you do?
I panicked. I said something like, I'm not sure I can say that, with a question mark at the end of it, like I was asking him if that was acceptable.
Which probably made it more awkward.
Much more awkward. He looked embarrassed, I looked scared, and we both went back to eating our lunch in silence.
And what should you have said?
I should have known two things. One, in many English-speaking workplaces, especially informal ones, this question is actually fairly normal between colleagues of similar level. Two, if I didn't want to answer, there are natural, non-awkward ways to redirect. I'd rather not say, company policy, but what I can say is I'm comfortable where I am.
That one sentence changes the whole moment.
It closes the question politely without making it feel like you've been personally offended, and it does it in English that sounds natural and confident.
And that's exactly what today's tips are about. The language for every money moment, from the comfortable to the complicated.
Let's get into the tips. Tip number 1, and this one is the foundation of everything else. Tip 1, build your money vocabulary foundation.
Because you cannot talk naturally about something if you don't have the words for it. And money has its own vocabulary, phrases and expressions that native speakers use every day that English learners often don't know.
Let's go through the most important ones. And for each one, we'll give you a real example sentence so you can hear how it sounds in context.
First, what's your budget? This is the safest, most neutral way to ask how much someone is willing to spend. Not how much money do you have, that's too direct. What's your budget is professional and normal.
Example, we're planning a team dinner. What's our budget?
Next, it's a bit out of my price range. This is how you say something is too expensive without embarrassment. You're not saying you're poor, you're saying this specific thing doesn't fit your current spending plan.
Example, that holiday sounds amazing, but honestly, it's a bit out of my price range right now.
Then, I'm trying to be more mindful of my spending. This is a modern, non-embarrassing way to say you're watching your money. Mindful spending sounds intentional, like a choice, not a limitation.
Example, I've been trying to be more mindful of my spending lately, so I'm cooking at home more.
And that's not something I'm comfortable discussing. The polite exit from any money conversation you don't want to have. No drama, no apology, just clear.
Example, how much did you pay for your apartment? Honestly, that's not something I'm comfortable discussing, but it works well for me.
And worth every penny. A warm, enthusiastic way to say something was expensive but absolutely deserved it. No guilt, just appreciation.
Example, that cooking class was expensive but worth every penny. I learned so much.
These 5 phrases, budget, price range, mindful spending, not comfortable discussing, and worth every penny, give you a foundation for almost any everyday money conversation.
Learn them, say them out loud, make them yours.
Tip number 2, and this one is about understanding the unwritten rules, the things English speakers know without being taught. Tip 2, learn the cultural money map.
Because every English-speaking culture has different rules about what is acceptable to discuss, and getting it wrong, not because of grammar, but because of cultural expectation, is one of the most common mistakes non-native speakers make.
Let's go through the most important cultural rules for money conversations in English.
Rule 1. Salary questions. In most British contexts, asking someone's salary directly is considered quite personal and is generally avoided. In American and Australian contexts, it's more acceptable, especially between colleagues of similar position. If you're not sure, don't ask. Wait for the other person to bring it up.
Rule 2. Prices. In English-speaking cultures, asking, how much did that cost, about something someone owns, their bag, their car, their house, is considered impolite unless you're in a buying context. Where did you get that is always safer than how much was it.
Rule 3. Splitting bills. The expectation to split costs equally is very common in English-speaking contexts, especially among friends and colleagues. Let's go Dutch, or let's split it, is completely normal. Not offering to pay your share can sometimes feel surprising or awkward.
Rule 4. Complaining about prices. It's acceptable and common to say, the prices here are getting ridiculous, or everything is so expensive lately, as casual small talk. It bonds people, it's shared experience. This is low-stakes money talk that almost everyone joins.
Rule 5. Talking about financial goals. I'm saving up for a trip to Japan, or I'm trying to pay off my student loans. Sharing financial goals is positive and welcomed. It's not boasting, it's sharing your life direction.
Know these rules, and you'll navigate money conversations with much more confidence, not just linguistically, but culturally.
The cultural money map. The words matter, but the context matters just as much.
Tip number 3, and this is the one that most directly affects people's lives and careers. Tip 3,
Learn how to ask for what you're worth.
Negotiating salary, asking for a raise, discussing your rate as a freelancer. These are the highest stakes money conversations in English, and most learners avoid them completely because they don't have the language.
And avoiding them costs real money every year.
So let's give you the language, real phrases you can use in a real negotiation.
Starting the conversation. I'd like to discuss my compensation if we have a moment. Professional, calm, direct, no apology.
Negotiating salary, asking for a raise, discussing your rate as a freelancer. These are the highest stakes money conversations in English, and most learners avoid them completely because they don't have the language.
And avoiding them costs real money every year.
So let's give you the language, real phrases you can use in a real negotiation.
Starting the conversation. I'd like to discuss my compensation if we have a moment. Professional, calm, direct, no apology.
Stating your research. Based on my research into the market rate for this role, I believe a salary of number would be more in line with the industry standard.
Responding to a low offer. I appreciate the offer. I was expecting something closer to number based on my experience and the scope of this role. Is there any flexibility?
That phrase, "is there any flexibility," is one of the most useful phrases in any negotiation. It opens a door without demanding. It asks without confronting.
Asking for a raise. I've really valued my time here, and I've taken on these specific responsibilities. I'd love to discuss whether there's an opportunity to reflect that in my compensation.
And if you need time, thank you. Could I have a day or two to consider this?
These phrases don't require confidence you haven't yet built. They give you the structure, and sometimes the structure creates the confidence.
Ask for what you're worth in English with these words. You earned the right to ask. Tip number 4. And this one is about something equally important, knowing how to leave a money conversation gracefully when you don't want to be in it. Tip 4, master the graceful exit.
Because not every money question deserves an answer, and knowing how to decline politely in English without making the moment awkward is a skill that most learners don't have.
The graceful exit has 3 parts. First, acknowledge the question. Second, redirect without answering. Third, move the conversation forward.
Let's see it in action. Someone asks, "So, what's your salary these days?"
Graceful exit. That's a bit of a personal question for me. I'm happy where I am, though. And what about you? Are you happy with where you're working these days?
That's it. Warm, light, no lecture about privacy, no awkward silence, just a smooth turn.
Another example. Someone asks, how much did you pay for your flat?
London prices, you know how it is. We love the area, though. Have you lived in this part of the city long?
Redirect to them. You don't have to answer. You don't have to explain why you're not answering. You just turn warmly and keep going.
The graceful exit works because it never creates a confrontation. It keeps the warmth while protecting the privacy.
Practice these exits. You won't use them every day, but when you need them, you'll be so glad they're there.
The graceful exit. Acknowledge, redirect, move forward. No drama, no sorry. And our final tip, tip 5. And this one is bigger than vocabulary. It's about changing how you feel about talking about money, not just in English, but at all. Tip 5, make the money mindset shift.
Tell us what that shift is.
The shift is this. Talking about money is not rude. Talking about money is not greedy. Talking about money is not inappropriate. Talking about money is just information, and sharing information is how people make better decisions.
We've been taught, especially in certain cultures, that money is secret, that mentioning it is vulgar, that needing it is embarrassing, that wanting more of it is selfish.
And as a result, people don't negotiate their salaries. They don't ask for better rates. They overpay for things because they're too embarrassed to compare prices. They don't know their own financial worth because nobody ever talked about it.
The silence around money is not modesty, it's a disadvantage.
And in English-speaking professional environments, people who can talk about money clearly, comfortably, and directly are taken more seriously, because money talk is business talk, and business talk is confidence.
I want to give you a reframe. Instead of thinking money is a sensitive topic I should avoid, think money is a tool, and I deserve to understand and discuss my tools.
Your salary is information about your market value. Prices are information about what things cost. Budgets are information about priorities. None of that is shameful. All of it is just real life.
And in English, in your second or third language, you deserve to talk about real life, fully, clearly, without apology.
Think of it like this. Before you learned to drive, the road felt complicated and dangerous. Every decision felt high stakes. But as you practiced and as you learned the rules, the road became just the road. Normal. Navigable.
Money conversations are the road. Today, we gave you the rules. Now you practice, and eventually it just becomes normal.
The money mindset shift. Money is information. Talking about it is a skill, and you are learning it right now.
Our question today, and we really want to know,
What is one money conversation you have been avoiding in English? A salary negotiation, asking about a price, splitting a bill, discussing your budget?
write it in the comments, name it, and then which of today's tips will you use to finally have that conversation?
Because the conversation you've been avoiding might be the one that changes something real.
You listened to this today. You chose to learn something most people never talk about. That already puts you ahead.
We are proud of you, genuinely.
This was Speak First English.
Until next time, speak first, think second, and please talk about money, your worth, your decisions. They deserve to be spoken. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.